Okay, good morning everyone. My name is Elsa Cross. I'm a demand manager for Haribo in France. And I'm very happy to be with you today and be able to share our experience on our supply chain project with Futuremaster. So basically the presentation will be divided into three parts. First, I will talk a little bit about Haribo and the brand, and then briefly explain how we are structured in the supply chain organization. And finally, we will focus on the transformation we had gone on our supply chain the past 3 years. So Haribo, who are we? In fact, it's a story that started like more than almost a century ago in 1920 in Germany. It all started with a couple, the Riegel couple, who created a candy factory in Bonn. So from that little candy factory, it became the leader in the sugar confectionery market. So in fact, it's a name that really makes sense because in fact Haribo stands for Hans Riegel Bonn, and it's still located in Bonn, in Germany, and it's still a family business. So from that little factory, we have become a world leader with 6,000 employees and 19 production sites and 10 distribution subsidiaries, and we are now exporting in more than 100 countries. In France, we are the second group subsidiary, so it's one of the biggest markets in Europe, and we have two production sites, one in Marseille and one in Uzès, and we are 750 employees, and we produce every year almost 50,000 tons of candies. So besides the company, there is a brand, which is really a brand of reference. If we ask people, 87% of them will spontaneously mention Haribo as a brand for the sweets. So it's very powerful for us. So now in France, we have reached more than 40 million consumers. Maybe you are one of them. And our growth is really based on 4 pillars. We have our famous Tagada, which is still the top seller in our product portfolio, and she is 50 years old this year. And we have our dry robust, very colorful sweets, and the Haribo sour product family, which has become more and more important the past decades. And of course, the last one, the traditional chamallow. I think all of you might know the chamallow. He has now a little brother. We have launched the chocolate chamallow last year. So I'm often asked if we have seasonality in our sales, and in fact we do in the sweet market. We have at the moment 3 peaks in demand during the year, which is mainly driven by our promotional campaign. So first of all, of course, the Halloween campaign, which is the biggest moment for us during the year. And then we have a carnival in February, March, and Kermesse, which is the end of the school, Kermesse and everything. And we are now investing on new events, seasonal events in Christmas and Easter with a dedicated product range. So Haribo in France is the leader in the category. So he owns almost 39% of the market share in value. And that was the main growth during the past 10 years. Innovation is one of our key drivers. At the moment, if we look in 2008, out of the top 20 innovation, 11 of them were from Haribo in France. And as I mentioned, we had the chocolate chamallow. We have launched the new product range Maoam, which is a complete new business for us. It was already sold in Germany, but not yet in France. And we also have other jellies products. So the supply chain in Haribo is actually quite new because the structure has been created 10 years ago. And since then, we have, of course, changed a lot. We have come from a situation where people were working in silo. We had production, sales, and logistics. And now we have a clear collaboration. And in the supply chain structure, we are now dealing with demand planning, inventory, supply planning, warehousing, production planning, procurement, transportation. So this is quite new for us in Haribo France, and it's a clear success because after 10 years we have put in place all the good processes and organization and tools, of course. Just a few key figures. Last year we have shipped more than 74 kilotons of product. We have two main distribution warehouses, and we have thousands. Our main distribution channel is clearly retailers, and we have thousands of point of sales. But now we're going to focus more on the project we have done the past 3 years, especially with FutureMaster. And so I think we all share that statement that the environment is clearly changing a lot, and we could no longer exist as production, sales, and logistics, and we had to face more complexity in terms of customer portfolio. In France, the retailers are changing very fast, so we have to adapt to that and also propose different supply chain approaches like make to stock or make to orders. We have dedicated product per customer now, so we really have to adapt to it. And also we have more complexity from the product portfolio. As I explained before, one of the key drivers is innovation. So we have now to deal with much more phase-in and phase-out processes, different stock management process, and a number of SKU, which is evolving very fast. And the market, as I mentioned before, is declining for the past 2 years. So Haribo, as the leader of a category, really have to put in place the strategy to reverse that trend and keep the growth going. So in terms of supply chain and production, we are now importing almost a third of what we are selling in France. So of course we have longer lead times and we have a different stock policy to put in place. So all this make very important for us to have a very structured and mature processes and tools. So the main pillars we have defined for our transformation were, of course, we had a clear strategy and vision, and based on that we had to put in place all the processes and organization in place. And of course the technology, and for that we have chosen FutureMaster to support that transformation process. And we have implemented the demand planning tool and the promotion planning tool. So our objectives were quite clear and ambitious. We had a clear a goal given by our steering committee. So the first one was to have on a long term a good balance between our supply and demand, and that's going through improving our customer service and optimizing our inventory level, and of course decrease our penalties amount with our retailers in France, and have a smoother production plan. We wanted to really stabilize and not react from a day to another one in our factory. The second objective was clearly to have an operating plan for our organization. So instead of working on reaction, we really wanted to anticipate. We could no longer be reacting from a week to another one to the market evolution. So that was also a clear objective for us. The third was also given by our board. We wanted to have a better integration between our sales and financial plan with our operation. We could not, as I said, work on the short-term basis, and we had to be aligned with the long-term plan of the company. And the fourth one is, of course, it could seem simple, but it was very important for us. We didn't really track our performance in the past. So the first thing is, if you want to improve, you have to put in place some good KPI indicators. And based on that, you can start your transformation. So we first worked on our demand planning process as the key entrance for the S&OP process. So for that, we have worked with FutureMaster, and it took us almost a year to implement the demand and promotion plan. So basically the project was divided into two parts. The first part was almost the most important for us, is really working on the scoping and the general design, put in place all the processes for our company. So make the Future Master tool really meeting our needs and make sure it is adapted to our business. And then the second part, the 6 last months, is more dedicated on technical implementation, building interfaces and make all the test and validation at the end. So we are live now since 2007, so it's like 2 years ago. And we have come from a situation where we used to work in a world where we had no connection between our tool. We had really homemade tool based on Excel. And we had a lot of manual entries and lots of manual updates. So basically, we did spend much more time on data crunching than analyzing. And we didn't have a very regular S&OP cycle. So thanks to that, improvement of our demand planning, we could now have a better integration between different tools we had. We have daily updates of stocks, of course, sales, open orders, and we are now able to make some projections, stock projection, production projection, and sales projection. We have put in place also a collaborative forecast process together with sales and marketing. And we have reinforced our S&OP cycle, which is now monthly and with a much better one-figure culture. So we used to work, in the past, we had a very clear strategic view and a good operational execution. But we didn't have a tactical level where we used to work on monthly buckets. So this is yearly, this is daily, and this was missing. So now that we have a robust demand planning process in place, we are also working on our supply planning. And this helps a lot in terms of anticipation, projection, and building scenario. It also helps a lot the board to support the decision-making process. This is our forecast validation process, so now we are using the statistical baseline forecast. And we have input from sales and marketing, and we have a proper sign-off during demand review. So, in terms of results, we have the first one and the most obvious is the improvement of the forecast accuracy. So we have improved since the go live by 10% our forecast accuracy, which is really seen in also our stock quality. We have divided by 12 the obsolete stock. So in terms of concrete results, we are very happy with it. So this is 2007. We had almost 9% of our stock were bad stock, and now we are approaching 1%. So we are now creating value for the business, and it's really a great opportunity for the company. Also, we have improved our customer service by 1%. So 1% seems not very much, but for our customer it's a lot. We have much less penalties, and the customer satisfaction is really increasing. So it's a clear success for us. If I want to conclude, I would say that in terms of key success factor, in any transformation project you want to develop, you really need to have the support of your management, because if you are on your own and fighting to implement S&OP and new supply chain organization, it will take much longer time if you don't have the support. And of course, the second point is quite important, because you have to allocate enough resources on this kind of project, especially at the very end of a project. If you don't allocate enough resources in test, validation, etc., then you might end with 10 months struggling with the tool. So it's really important to remember that. And of course, you need to allocate resources to conduct the change management in the company, because you can have the best tool in the world. I really believe if people are not if they don't have faith in the process, they will not attend it. It won't be a success. So that was my 2 main points out of a project.
Okay, thank you so much, Elsa. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.
Are there any questions in the assembly? Any questions? So, yeah, you do have one?
I'm not sure that. I'm sorry. I'm Daniel Balla from Ferrero. So I'm not sure that if you know, it's more like a technical detail question. Just I'm more interested about this. That when we are talking about sales forecast accuracy, do you know the lag? On which lag is it measured? Is it?
I always compare the forecast from the previous months with the sales of the month. So I do the forecast in February. For February in January, for instance, and then I will compare the sales from February with the forecast I made the months before. And it's a good question because now we are thinking of changing a little bit the way we calculate it, because in some cases some products are coming from very far away, and then we have to adapt the calculation of the forecast accuracy. Because if my forecast was bad 2 months ago and good the month before, doesn't help because I won't have a product in stock. So we will adapt a little bit depending on the product portfolio.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Is there another question? Yeah, maybe I will just ask one question. Okay. I already asked you, remember, at the supply chain event in Paris in December, but why did you choose Future Master?
It was, we had a tender who took us, we did spend a really long time to choose the best suppliers for Haribo in France. And the decision makers were experienced in our field. We were very confident in the capacity of Future Master to advise us and come with a great customer experience. So that was the first one. And also we could have a possibility to really try the system before, which was not always the case. So I really like playing and see if it really works, and what was the possibility to customize for our needs. So that was also a good point for us. And I would say that the final was really people. We were very lucky. We had a very good team to support us all the way during the project. And it's important when you start this kind of big project in a company to rely on good people. Make sure that you will have a good communication. It will go smoothly, because of course during a project it's up and down, and I think good advice and good people. It was what made us decide yes.
Well, thank you so much, Elsa.